This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Hello, friends. Welcome to the 62nd episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. I hope you're doing well and excited to spend a little time with our friendly little otter. I thought the otter would be a good animal to spotlight today because its playful nature can be a good inspiration for us. It plays happily in the river, unconcerned of what's further down the river. It's a beautiful analogy to remind us to live in the present moment and enjoy what we have without spending our present fearing the future. When I was in university, the otter was actually our mascot. Go Otterbein University! 1015 The Rock, WOBN.net. Yeah! Those are the good old days. So, it has a nice connection to my past and a nice lesson for my present, too. For our Native American friends, they admire the otter for its playfulness, its adaptability and intuition. Otters are deeply connected to the water element, which represents the subconscious and inner wisdom. The otter is also a good representation of community and family for their social and nurturing nature. They're also connected with healing and cleansing because of their association with the rest and cleansing moon, which is happening now, actually. It lasts from January 20th until February 17th. Otters are considered lucky animals in many Native American cultures, and the otter is a symbol of loyalty and honesty in some of the West Coast tribes. But in northern British Columbia and the Alaskan coast, river otters, usually called land otters, were associated with ghosts and drowning, and were regarded by the people with awe and fear. So I have two stories for you today. They're both rather short, but both rather good. I found several stories involving a bitter feud between a lazy rabbit and a vengeful otter, but because of their length and violence, I opted to just go with these two stories instead. Our first story comes from the Assiniboine people. The Assiniboine people are also known as Nakota or Nakota and are originally from the northern Great Plains of North America. Their name comes from the Ojibwe term meaning stone Sioux, referencing their traditional method of cooking with heated stones. They currently live mostly in Montana and North Dakota, as well as Saskatchewan, with some communities in Alberta and Manitoba. This is the crane and the otter, and it explains why the cold doesn't bother the otter. Some birds lay eggs early in the season, some later, but the crane is the last to hatch. When the young ducks and geese are flying away to a warmer country, the young crane was still too weak to fly. Winter was approaching. The mother bird asked Otter to keep the bird for her during the winter. In return, she would reward him in the spring. Otter kept her warm in a warm hole. However, cold came. Once cold came to the camp. Cold killed Otter and carried off the young crane to his home, where he made him stir the fire for him with his bill. He was never allowed to go anywhere else. He was starving and became ugly. The fire burnt his beak, so that the crane's skin is of a reddish-brown color now. In the spring, when the south side of the hill was warm, while the northern side was still frozen, the young crane knew his mother would return soon. He went to the sunshine and called her. He continued to do so later in the spring. Cold cried, "Come in here! Stop that noise, my grandson!" The crane cried all the louder. Cold pursued him and nearly caught him. Then suddenly a clap of thunder was heard, and the lightning struck Cold and tore him to pieces. The crane was there and asked her young one how he had been and how he had been treated during the winter. He told her that Otter had treated him well, while Cold had abused him. The old bird looked for another otter and said to him, "Henceforth the Cold will never kill you." Thus she paid the otter for his services. This is why the otter can live in the water throughout the winter without freezing. The cold is terrible, unless you're an otter. We're still suffering through it now. It was kind of the crane to reward the otter, but if she could have just done a little more damage to Cold, then perhaps we wouldn't be suffering now. Our final story is a bit funny. It doesn't necessarily show Otter in a good light, but it does highlight his playful nature as we look at the Ojibwe legend of how the bear lost his tail. Long, long ago, there were only creatures on the earth. There were birds, bears, deer, mice, everything but people. In this long ago time, all the animals spoke the same language. And just like some people nowadays, they played tricks on one another and made each other laugh. They also helped each other. So it was with all the animals. One day in the winter, when the lakes had frozen, but before the winter sleep, Bear was walking along the lake's shore. As he was walking, he came upon Otter sitting near a hole in the ice with a pile of fish. "You've got a mighty big pile of fish there," Bear said. "How did you get them fish?" Instead of telling how he had dove into the water and caught the fish, Otter decided to trick Bear. You see, back then Bear had a very long, bushy tail. He was very proud of his tail, and all the animals knew it. "The way I catch my fish is by putting my tail in the ice hole," Otter explained. "I wiggle it around once in a while so the fish see it. When a bite comes onto my tail, I quickly pull it out of the water." "That sure is an easy way to catch fish," Bear said. "Do you mind if I use your fishing hole?" Otter laughed behind the bear's back and said, "I have enough fish. Use my fishing hole as long as you like." Then Otter picked up his fish and walked away. Bear carefully poked his tail into the ice hole and waited. He waited and waited. Once in a while, he'd wiggle his tail so the fish could see it. Bear waited until the sun began to set, but not one fish even nibbled at his tail. At last, he decided to go home. But when he tried to stand up, his tail had frozen into the ice. He couldn't move. He pulled and pulled at his tail, but it was stuck tightly. Finally, he pulled with all of his strength and ripped off half of his tail. Now you know why Bear has a short tail. And remember, don't always believe what people tell you. Yikes! Yeah, don't always believe what people tell you. It's good advice for our era, just as it was when this story came to be. Protect your backside on your journey through life. It's with respect and gratitude that I offer my blessings and thank you for sharing my journey with me and for sharing your time with me on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. If you enjoy the podcast, please like and review it in your podcast service so we might grow a little further. And feel free to reach out to us in the contact information in the episode link if there's something you'd like us to talk about. Our first story, The Crane and the Otter, comes from native-languages.org. It originally appears in Robert Harry Lowe's 1900 collection, The Assiniboine. Our second story, How the Bear Lost His Tail, comes from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh at uwosh.edu. It was originally told to Marion, Doreen, and Leonard Belisle by Jerry Smith. For more great stories and legends, join me next week for another story here on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. Music is provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast Image of the Moon was provided by Mark Lott. We will see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa? Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.